The snow fell in thick, merciless sheets, turning the city into a blurred watercolor of gray and white. On a bench beneath a flickering street lamp, a boy no older than 10 sat hunched, his thin jacket doing nothing against the wind that clawed at his skin. People hurried past, collars up, eyes down, each step a silent declaration that he didn't exist. His lips were blue, his fingers curled like frozen claws, and still, no one stopped. Not the woman with the designer coat. Not the man scrolling his phone. Not the couple laughing under one umbrella. Then, from the mouth of an alley, a girl emerged. Barefoot in threadbare sneakers, carrying a cardboard sign that read hungry in shaky marker, she saw him. And in that single heartbeat, everything changed. If you've ever felt invisible, keep watching, this one's for you. Hit that like button if your heart's already racing, and subscribe so you never miss a story that reminds us what humanity's really worth. Lila had learned early that the world didn't pause for kids like her. At 12, she knew the rhythm of the streets better than any classroom, the clatter of the 6 train, the hiss of the soup kitchen steam table, the way certain corners smelled like piss and others like hot pretzels. Her mother had vanished 3 winters ago, leaving behind a duffel bag of clothes and a note that said I can't. The foster system had tried to swallow her, but Lila kept slipping through the cracks, sleeping in laundromats, trading drawings for quarters. She told herself she didn't need anyone. But some nights, when the cold sank into her bones, she wondered if anyone needed her. That night, the cold was a living thing. It bit her toes through the holes in her shoes, made her teeth chatter so hard she tasted blood. She'd been walking for hours, her sign limp and useless, nobody looked up anymore. The city had hardened its heart. Then she saw the boy on the bench. He wasn't begging. He wasn't even moving much. Just sitting, knees drawn to chest, staring at nothing. His hair was dark and matted with ice, his cheeks hollow. Something about the way he held himself, small, but not broken, snagged in her chest like a hook. She should have kept walking. She had nothing to give. Her pockets held 3 nickels and a stale granola bar. But her feet stopped anyway. "Hey," she said, voice cracking from the cold. He didn't look up. She tried again, softer. "You okay?" His head lifted slowly. Eyes the color of storm clouds met hers. "I'm fine," he lied, the words trembling out like smoke. Lila sat beside him, leaving a careful distance. Up close, she saw the expensive cut of his jacket, now torn and filthy, and the faint outline of a logo she didn't recognize. Rich kid, she thought. Lost or runaway. Didn't matter. He was freezing. "What's your name?" "Eli." A whisper. "I'm Lila." She pulled the granola bar from her pocket, broke it in half. The chocolate was melted and refrozen into a sad lump, but she held it out. "Trade you for your story." He stared at the bar like it was gold. Took it with shaking fingers. "I was waiting for someone. They didn't come." "Who?" "My driver." He said it like it explained everything. Lila almost laughed. Drivers were fairy tales, but the look on his face stopped her. "We got separated. I told him I'd stay here. It's been," he glanced at a watch that had stopped at 6:42. "A while." The snow piled higher. Lila's toes had gone numb. She scooted closer until their shoulders touched. "You can't stay here. You'll freeze." "I promised." "Promises don't keep you warm." She stood, offered her hand. "Come on. I know a place." Eli hesitated. Then, slowly, he took it. The shelter was 3 blocks away, a church basement with cots and a radiator that clanked like a dying animal. Lila had slept there twice before they'd kicked her out for being unaccompanied. Tonight, the line snaked around the block. She tugged Eli past it, to the side door where Sister Agnes smoked cigarettes and pretended not to see kids sneaking in. Lila, the nun, sighed, exhaling smoke. You know the rules. He's new, Lila said quickly. First night. Please. Sister Agnes looked at Eli, really looked. Her face softened. One night. But you owe me dish duty tomorrow, kid. Inside, the air was thick with soup and unwashed bodies. Eli clung to Lila's sleeve as they wove between cots. Someone had given up a bottom bunk. Lila pushed him toward it. Sleep. I'll take the floor. No, his voice was fierce. We share. The cot was narrow, the blanket thin. They lay back to back, strangers sharing warmth like it was currency. Lila listened to his breathing even out, felt the tremor in his shoulders slow. For the first time in years, she wasn't alone. Morning came gray and reluctant. Sister Agnes woke them with coffee that tasted like rust. Eli sat up, hair wild, eyes wide at the room full of snoring bodies. This is, where you live? Sometimes. Lila shrugged. Better than the subway. He looked like he might cry. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled 20. For the blanket. Lila stared at the bill. $20 could buy new socks, a real meal. She pushed it back. Keep it. You'll need it more than me. They left before the social workers arrived. Outside, the city was waking, delivery trucks, barking dogs, the distant wail of a siren. Eli kept glancing at his broken watch. I need to call my dad. There's a payphone by the bodega. Lila led the way, weaving through slush and steam. The phone was busted, receiver dangling like a hanged man. Eli's face fell. My house isn't far, he said suddenly. Upper East Side. We could walk. Lila laughed, a sharp sound. That's, like, 40 blocks in a blizzard. Please. His eyes were huge. I just want to go home. She studied him. The way he said home, like it was a prayer. She thought of her own mother's note, the duffel bag, the way doors kept closing. Fine. But we do it my way. They took the subway, pooling their nickels for one fare. Lila lifted the turnstile for Eli, heart pounding. On the train, he pressed against the window, watching the tunnels blur. I've never been on the subway before, he whispered. Seriously? He nodded. We have cars. And helicopters. Lila snorted. Must be nice. The walk from the station was brutal. Wind whipped down Park Avenue, turning snow into needles. Eli's teeth chattered so hard she thought they'd break. Halfway there, he stumbled. Lila caught him, slung his arm over her shoulder. Almost there, rich boy. His building was a fortress of glass and stone. A doorman in a long coat stepped out, eyes narrowing. Can I help you? I'm Eli Harrington, the boy said, voice cracking. This is my friend. The doorman's face went slack. He ushered them inside, past marble floors and a chandelier that looked like a frozen waterfall. In the elevator, Eli leaned against the wall, eyes closed. Lila stared at their reflection, two kids who didn't belong together, mirrored in gold. The penthouse doors opened to chaos. A woman in pearls screamed, dropping a vase that shattered like ice. Eli. She ran, heels clicking, pulling him into a hug that swallowed him whole. A man followed, tall, silver-haired, face carved from worry. He knelt, hands on Eli's shoulders. Where were you? I got lost, Eli mumbled into his mother's neck. Lila helped me. The parents turned. Lila stood in the doorway, dripping slush on Italian tile. She felt suddenly small, grubby. The mother's eyes flicked over her, barely 12, filthy coat, hole in her shoe. You brought him home? Lila nodded. The father, Mr. Harrington, she'd learn, stepped forward. What's your name? Lila. Her voice came out steady, surprising her. He studied her for a long moment. You're coming with us. They put her in a guest room bigger than the church basement. A maid brought hot chocolate and a towel warmer than anything she'd ever touched. Lila sat on the edge of the bed, afraid to move. Eli peeked in, hair damp from a shower, wearing pajamas with tiny sailboats. They want to meet you properly. After you, clean up. She showered until her fingers pruned, wrapped herself in a robe that smelled like lavender. In the dining room, the table was set for breakfast, pancakes, bacon, fruit arranged like art. Lila's stomach growled so loud Eli laughed. Mr. Harrington waited until she'd eaten 2 pancakes before speaking. Eli says you saved his life. I just shared a cot. You gave him your food. Your blanket. You walked him 40 blocks in a blizzard. His voice was quiet, but it filled the room. We'd like to help you. Lila's fork paused. I don't need charity. It's not charity, Mrs. Harrington said. It's gratitude. And responsibility. You're a child. You shouldn't be on the streets. They offered a room. A school. A chance. Lila wanted to say no, wanted to protect the hard shell she'd built, but the bed was soft, and Eli was looking at her like she'd hung the moon. She nodded. The first weeks were strange. Uniforms that fit. Lockers with combination locks. Teachers who called her Miss Moreau. Eli stuck to her like glue, showing her secret passages in the school, sneaking her extra cookies at lunch. But there were whispers. Who's the charity case? Did you hear she lived in a shelter? Lila kept her head down, drew in the margins of her notebooks, cityscapes, subway maps, Eli's face when he thought no one was looking. Then came the gala. The Harringtons hosted it every year, black tie, champagne, politicians kissing babies. Lila was dressed in borrowed silk, hair twisted up with pins that cost more than her old life. She stood in a corner, clutching a glass of sparkling cider, when a man in a tuxedo cornered her. You're the street girl, he slurred, breath sour. Must be nice, huh? Trading rags for riches. Eli appeared like a storm. Leave her alone. The man laughed. Defending your pet project? Lila's cheeks burned. She slipped away, out to the balcony where the city glittered below. Snow had started again, soft and silent. Footsteps behind her, Eli, coatless, cheeks red. I'm sorry, he said. It's fine. It's not. He kicked at the railing. They don't get it. What you did. I didn't do anything special. You saw me. His voice cracked. Everyone else walked by. You stopped. She looked at him then, really looked. The boy who'd been freezing on a bench, now standing in a tuxedo worth thousands. Same eyes. Same tremor in his hands when he was nervous. You'd have done the same. He shook his head. I don't know. Spring came slow. Lila's grades climbed. She won an art contest, her drawing of the subway at dawn hung in the school lobby. Eli's parents enrolled her in private lessons, bought her supplies that smelled like possibility. But some nights, she woke gasping, dreaming of cardboard signs and empty stomachs. One afternoon, Eli found her in the park, sketching pigeons. Dad wants to talk to you. Mr. Harrington waited in his study, walls lined with books she'd never heard of. He gestured to a chair. Lila, we've been discussing your future. Her stomach dropped. I'm not going back. No, he smiled, rare and real. We'd like to adopt you. If you want. The word hung in the air. Family. She thought of her mother's note, the duffel bag, the way doors had closed. Then she thought of Eli's laugh, Mrs. Harrington's hugs that smelled like vanilla, the way Mr. Harrington left art magazines on her desk. "Yeah," she said, voice thick. "I want." The paperwork took months. There were hearings, social workers, questions about her past. Lila answered honestly, about the streets, the hunger, the nights she'd cried herself to sleep. The judge, an older woman with kind eyes, stamped the papers. Lila Moreau became Lila Harrington. Eli hooped so loud the bailiff shushed him. Summer brought a trip to the Hamptons. Lila learned to swim in the ocean, Eli's arms around her waist as waves crashed. She painted the sunset, oranges and pinks bleeding into blue, and Mr. Harrington hung it in his office. "Our first family portrait," he said. But the past wasn't buried. One October morning, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside, a single photograph, Lila at 8, gap-toothed and smiling, arm around a woman with tired eyes. On the back, in shaky handwriting, "I'm sorry. I'm clean now. Can I see her?" Lila sat on the roof for hours, photo clutched to her chest. Eli found her at dusk. "You okay?" "I don't know." She showed him the picture. "She left me. She was sick," he said carefully. "Addiction's a disease. I hate her." "Maybe. But you're allowed to miss her too." They met in a diner downtown. Her mother, Maria, looked older, thinner, eyes red-rimmed but clear. She cried when she saw Lila, reached out, then pulled back. "You're so grown up." Lila's throat ached. "Why now?" "I saw your picture in the paper. The art award." Maria's hands shook. "I've been sober 2 years. I didn't want to disrupt your life." "You already did." "I know." A tear slipped down Maria's cheek. "I don't deserve forgiveness. But I wanted you to know I'm proud. And I'm sorry." Lila left without hugging her. But she kept the photo. Years passed. Lila graduated high school top of her class, Eli beside her in matching caps. She studied art at RSD, came home summers to paint murals in the shelter where she'd once slept. Eli followed her to college, then to law school, determined to fix the system that had failed her. At 25, Lila stood in a gallery downtown, her first solo show. Canvases lined the walls, cityscapes in oil, portraits of kids with hungry eyes, one massive piece, a boy on a bench, a girl offering half a granola bar. The plaque read, "What we see." Eli found her in the back, adjusting a frame. "Sold out," he said, grinning. "Every piece." She laughed, tears in her eyes. "Remember when you thought $20 was a fortune?" He pulled her into a hug. "Remember when you saved my life?" Outside, snow fell soft and clean. Lila looked up at the sky, thought of the girl with the cardboard sign, the boy with the broken watch. 2 kids who'd found each other in the cold.